Hello everybody. I wanted to take a minute to do an update on the new pellet grill that I bought from Academy. It's the Outdoor Gourmet XL Pellet Grill. After doing some extensive research on the controller, I was mistaken. It is not a PID controller. It resembles the way it looks. It resembles the Roanoke style PID controller, but after doing some research, it's not a PID controller at all. And after doing a little bit more testing with the grill, I have determined that it's not going to fit my needs for what I intend on using it for and the purposes that I bought it for. So unfortunately, I'm going to be returning it back to Academy. With that being said, I'm not saying that it's not a good grill for the right person. First I'll go through what the pros and the cons as far as I can, that I've found out with my, testing. The pros of it are, it is a big pit. I think it's like 1,200, cubic inches. It's 36-inch grate by, I don't know what it was, 18 by, I forget what it was now, maybe 18 by 36 or something like that. It's a big grate. It's got a second shelf. It's a 3/4 shelf, so it holds a good amount of food, and it's not as heavy built as it looks. It looks like it's one of them great big old heavy stick burners, but it's not. I actually bought I have a caliper, but I didn't measure the thickness of the metal. I'll try to do that and maybe post an update. But it looks to me like it's probably 16 gauge, maybe 14 gauge steel, and it's just not as heavy as I really thought it was at first. The legs and the wheels are probably another pro. It's got some big iron wheels. It's easy to move across the grass. It's got locking casters on the other end. I do like the way the auger assembly is. Of course, coming from a camp chef, I do like the ash clean out feature, but that's not really a deal breaker for me because it doesn't. I've got to take it apart anyway to clean the ash out about every 2 or 3 cooks anyway. So, but I do like the design. There's virtually impossible to get a burn back the way the auger assembly is set up. And if you're not familiar with it, you can go back and look at some of my other videos. Let's see. It's got a heavy-duty wire rack shelf on the front, which is foldable. That's a big plus. I'm trying to think what the controller that comes on it, even though it's not a PID controller, it does hold the temperature fairly well. And it's kind of a slow sawtooth waveform. It's not a real up and down jaggedy, temperature is just fluctuating back and forth. And I did most of this testing with my fireboard. So now I'll tell you my few negatives that I have about it, and one of them is the controller. It does not read real-time temperature. It kind of averages, and about every so often the only time that the controller changes is whenever when it gets out more than about 5 or 10 degrees, and as the controller changes temperature, it jumps from like 5 or 10 degrees at a time. So it sits there. If you set it on 250, it'll sit there on 250 all the time. It almost never changes, which we obviously know that that's not what's really happening, because if you put a thermometer in there, you'll see it going up and down and up and down. But it's almost like they're trying to fool the user into thinking it's staying right on the temperature all the time. And for some people, they may not care about it. For me personally, I would rather have a real time. I just like to know what's going on real time. I don't want anybody fooling me into thinking it's doing something that it's not. And so that to me was one of the things I was not real happy about. And the other one is the temperature variance between left and right. And this was one of the big reasons that it's not going to work for my intended purpose. So, to give you an example, when I first got this, I was worried about it being hotter on the left than on the right, due to the burn pot being so far to the left of center. I thought it would be hotter on the left. Well, it's actually the opposite. It's much hotter on the right than it is on the left. And depending on the temperature that you're running at, it could be as much as 40, maybe even as much as 50 degrees higher on the right than it was on the left. And the way I measured them was the center of the left grate and the center of the right grate. And so the closest that I got was when I was running at 400 degrees. When I was running at 400 degrees, it was off 10 to 15 degrees, but between the right and the left. But at lower temperatures, like 225 in there, 250, you're looking at 40 plus degrees difference between the left and the right, and that's a significant amount. But anyway, I'm just telling you what I've discovered, what I found. And I think that's the two major cons that I have personally against it. There's probably more pros than there is cons, but those two for me are kind of a deal breaker. So I would say that if it's your only pellet grill and you're just looking for something that's large and economical, it's a good buy. As I said in one of my other videos, be very, very cautious and look for build quality issues when you're in the store. And if you can't get them to fix something in the store, if you can't find a good one, just get on the phone with them afterwards and have them ship you out whatever you need. But they are a cheaper Chinese-made product, and you're going to have some build quality issues probably. But if you kind of check them out real good in the store, you might get you a good one and be very satisfied with it. So anyway, that I just wanted to do a little update. I'm going to be returning it, but I know that people were following along with what I thought about it, and I've already got another pellet grill. So I was buying this for a specific purpose, and it just is not going to work out for what I wanted, but for somebody else, it may be just fine. I can't say that I'm 100% disappointed in it. The thing held temperature good. It put out a decent amount of smoke. It just wasn't what I was looking for, and I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money and time trying to see if I could modify it into making it work, changing out, replacing the controller, and making some kind of modification in the cooking chamber, a baffle or something, if I'm, I just didn't want to go through all that. And so, but for somebody else, it could be possible that you could add some kind of baffle in the cooking chambers, and you could get rid of some of that temperature variance between left and right. But it wasn't something that I was willing to do. So I'm going to wrap this video up. I appreciate everybody following along. Like I said, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go a different direction. I'll post some updates to my YouTube channel when I make another decision on my next cooker. Thank you very much, and thanks for following along.